we live? Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming back for our second session. I just want to take 1 second before we bring up our next speaker to thank our sponsors one more time. So we have Grow Wellness in the back. We have Body and Wellness over there by the clothing rack. We have Modern Vascular way back over there. Say hi. And we just had a demo, which was great. And if you guys don't know about that machine, I encourage you again, when we have our next break, head on back there, talk to Dr. Brittany. She's amazing. And just for the record, she has a picture on the iPad back there of a before and after, and that happens to be me. So if you want to know if it works, I guess you have your answer. Go check out that photo. All right, Mary, if you would like to introduce our next guest.
Yes, I would. Very much so. Thank you. Yes, thank you to the sponsors, because we wouldn't be able to live stream this if it weren't for them, and that's an important thing for all of you to be able to access this program afterwards. So anyway, my name is Mary, and it was such an incredible morning. I've learned so much, and what a great group of women. So thank you for coming. Our next speaker, Dr. Kay Campbell, completed both her undergraduate degree and Doctor of Physical Therapy at the University of Delaware. Her Bachelor's of Science studies were in exercise physiology with minors in both strength and conditioning and biology. Dr. Campbell has been awarded a board certification by the American Board of Physical Therapy Specialists in Sports Physical Therapy and is currently one of 18 physical therapists in the state of Connecticut with this distinction. Only 4 are females. In 2000, that's pretty, wow. Okay, in 2000, that's incredible. So, only 4. In 2010, she was certified in mechanical diagnosis and treatment, more commonly known as the McKenzie method, and she joined rvna Health in 2020, treating therapists, and since has been promoted to the outpatient practice manager with the goal of improving the company's ability to treat patients who are able to leave their home. She treats at 2 sites, the rvna Health Rehabilitation and Wellness Center located on the lower level and the Golf Performance Center. And she is a mom of 3, a Ridgefield resident, and involved in many areas of the Ridgefield community. And without further ado, I'm going to bring her up because we want to get started. Kate, you take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so excited to have this talk. We are going to have fun, and we're going to get moving because you're all sitting here. Sorry, I need a clicker, so I'm working on a last-minute fix. Okay. So we've all been sitting, hearing about what we need to do, and then I'm going to come up and say, you need to move. So sit here and listen to me talk about you moving. So let's see, does it work? Yay, it works. So I'm going quickly through some things. Good thing I can talk really fast. We're going to talk about why exercise is so good, why you should do it, what's the best exercise, the million-dollar question, how do I get started, how do I get motivated, and we're going to be moving throughout. I have a warning. I thought, this would be, I just have words on a screen, it's kind of boring, so I put some memes up there, and I asked my daughter for approval, and she's like, Mom, you don't know what memes are. So I have some up here, and I don't know if they work, but I have some commentary from my 8-year-old daughter to talk about if they're any good or not. For those of you who don't know what a meme is an image from internet culture. Cool. I don't get it. So here we go. Why should we exercise? There's so many health benefits. We have weight control. We all know that we have to lose weight, but why? When we burn calories, we have to get that energy from somewhere. We take it from the carbs that exist already in our bloodstream, and then if we exhaust those avenues, we go into taking energy from fat cells. So those who exercise tend to lose fat. It makes our skin healthier because we're bringing blood flow to the area. We're also helping our cells that want to die off stay healthier, stay alive longer. It helps our bones. Bones are a miraculous tissue in the body. There are very few tissues that replace themselves. Bone is one, liver is one, and nerve is one. Everything else mostly replaces itself with scar tissue, and that ain't so good. Bone responds to force. As you exercise, you give it force, it heals, it grows, and we need that. We'll talk a little bit more later. And digestive health. Bringing blood flow to the area, to our colon, to our stomach, helps get things moving, massages our food, and helps with digestion. Before I came to rvna, after I had a sports and orthopedic ground, I did change my professional place of work, and just because I have 3 kids, I was missing out on the mornings, I was missing out on the evenings treating in the clinic, so I worked at, I call them super seniors. They're not just geriatric 65, like the average client was 90 at Ridgefield Crossings here in town. And my goal was to get them out of their wheelchair and get them moving. I can't tell you how many sessions were spent in the bathroom because they sat all day and I got them up and gravity got it down. So we spent a lot of time getting their digestive system moving. Other benefits. There are so many articles out there showing that those who exercise have less risk of heart, lots of reasons for it, stroke, cancer. If we could do anything, a magic vitamin to prevent cancer, it would be exercise. Diabetes, not just preventing it, once you get it, that is the goal to actually reverse type 2 diabetes. Depression, we heard a lot about that this morning, and without you moderators and speakers knowing it, you injected it. Nira talked about, I go for a walk. Suzanne said, I gotta get up and go walk on the beach. You added exercise in and it made you feel good, and without knowing, you guys have actually promoted my talk here. And actually studies that show those who exercise have a decreased risk of contracting dementia or other types of dementia-like diseases later in life. I use exercise for those with chronic pain, in pain in general, and that's just because as your body gets moving, we have serotonin, we have epinephrine, we have all these happy chemicals that come on in our body that make us feel better. We actually have less pain. Just putting healthy blood and oxygenated blood around our nerves also desensitizes the nerves and desensitizes our brain to the signal of pain. How many times you're like, I'm too tired to exercise. I can't fit it in because I'm exhausted already, and you're gonna ask me to go burn more energy? I beg to differ. Those who exercise have more energy, twofold. One, immediately after. Who has exercised at night and then thought, I'm so tired, I'm gonna go to bed? No way, you're up. In fact, there is this sweet spot of my day. I have energy all day. I come home, I make dinner, we do bath time, I put the kids to bed. And I could just take a little nap. Just 20 minutes. 20 minutes is healthy, right? My husband knows you ain't getting up. I'm done. But if I go for a walk, I come back, I clear my mind, and I'm rejuvenated. And just by having that up of metabolism, we'll talk a little bit, actually gives me more energy. The second is those who exercise are stronger and have more stamina. Stamina is not the greatest word. We're going to call it like cardiovascular stamina. Your heart can tolerate more. And muscle endurance, your muscles, your body can tolerate more. Those who exercise have those benefits. Those who have those benefits have more energy. And we could all use more energy, right? Sleep. Those who exercise have better sleep, fall asleep faster, a deeper quality, and it's a more restful sleep. And we need that for our mental health as well. Those exercise also helps the brain. We talked about all of the chemicals that go on, the hormonal changes from exercise, but they're needed to help us make memories, retain memories, learn better. My husband reached over and said, whoa, what's that about sex life? That's exciting. Those who exercise, men and women with any sexual dysfunction, exercise is proven to improve. The other thing is, if you weigh less, it's easier. If you have more stamina, it's easier. So there is definite research, those who exercise have a better sexual life. I think of exercise as the hardest pill to take. If the doctor said, I have it, here's a bottle, just take this pill, it's gonna change your life. And it's this big, sharp, ugly tasting pill, and you don't take the medicine, it doesn't work. exercise is that Alanis Morissette jagged little pill. You just gotta swallow it. You just gotta do it, and it will work. At any dose, in a little bit, in a lot bit, it works as long as you do it. Those who exercise have decreased medical costs. Those who exercise live longer. Need I go on? I don't think I will. So, meme number 1. Claire said, good start. This makes sense. Here we go, everybody up. Let's go, let's go. I'm gonna do different exercises in different ways, so you can pick and choose what you like, how you like it. All right, the easy version is a quarter squat. The harder version is a medium squat. And our hardest version is all the way down. We got 10, ladies, 1, 2, 3, go. And that's 1. And I'm in heels, that's 2. And here's 3. And 4. I know you want to stop now. 5. And 6. And 7. Keep your chest up. Activate that core. And when you think you're done, hold it here. Let's bounce. 10. And a 9. And an 8. And a 7. A little lower. 6. 5. 4. Stephanie, join us. 3, 2, and hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Get lower. 10, 9, 8. Who's smiling? 6, 5. Lower. 4. Challenge yourself. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Nice job. There we go. That's 1. That's 1. Moving on. You can sit. You can sit. It was just a movement break. You know, we are going to fit in fitness right here, right now. We're going to demonstrate. It works. Psychologically, we had a lot this morning, so I won't go into it. But there's so many benefits for the brain. And if we can make our brain healthy, we can make us happy. We can reduce depression. We can reduce anxiety. We can improve our memory. And it just has to do with how we're treating our nerves, how we're treating our hormones, and the balances. And exercise regulates all of that. I swear, this is the magic pill. Exercise is really the only thing proven yet to have a correlation to reducing the risk of Alzheimer's disease later in life. So with Monica, we talked about, how do you tell your younger self to prevent it later? Because I could do that later, but right now I'm too busy. But there's never a better time. Now, anything you do, fit it in right now. As I say, and I'm having everyone. We're always in a flow trying to fit it in, and I go up and down too. I have all the tools, but sometimes it's hard. I get it. Compared to medication, if your doctor said, "Here's that pill," but you might get sleep apnea, and you might have constipation, you might have diarrhea, you might have an upset stomach, you might vomit. If you lose your vision, diplopia, right? The side effects go on. What are the side effects of exercise?
Sore muscles.
Yeah, oh man, that's really a hard one. It is. What else? What's a side effect of exercise?
Increased hunger.
Yes, maybe you get hungrier, but you earned it because you just burned those calories.
Time. You take time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's a sacrifice for it. But really, the side effects are minimal and they ain't that bad. It's available, it's free. It doesn't have to be free, but if you want it to be free, it absolutely could. That was a free one. Those 10 squats for you? There you go, no charge. Okay. To know why there are benefits, it's because of what happens physiologically during exercise. Everybody felt it. You breathe a little deeper. That's because your body said, I need to put energy into my cells. I need blood flow to do so. I got to get the heart pumping. Heart rate goes up. The blood vessels in the brain dilate so we can get, because as much as those muscles are working, your brain needs almost more energy than anything else going on in our body. So we're giving our blood flow straight to the brain, which the brain loves. We're releasing endorphins, releasing serotonin. These are our happy hormones. They make us feel good. And we're decreasing cortisol. And we talked a lot about that negative stress hormone. So look, we have raised the good, lower the bad, and it protects down at a cellular level. The chromosomes are protected with telomeres, And if we can protect our chromosomes from breaking apart, then we retain those cells and they actually live longer. And that's what is helping in our brain, that's what helps our skin and all of our cells. It takes sugar from the blood. So sugar's just kind of floating around, ready to go at any moment. In case Kate Campbell makes you do 30 squats, it's ready for you. And exercise will take that sugar and put it into the muscles, into the cells that need it right then and there. If sugar's just sitting around all day and it's too much, we call that diabetes. So here we go, we are preventing diabetes. And if we have too much sugar in the blood, we are treating diabetes. After you use all of those carbs that are there sitting in the cells, sitting in the bloodstream, then what's left to burn? What's next is fat. So we're going to take fat, everyone got a little flush, right? Is everybody a little red? That's because we put some more blood flow to the skin. And I think we talked a little bit about the bone health. When we talk about osteoporosis, it's tough. Because once it's there, I can't fix it. But if we can educate, we can prevent it. But I gotta tell you, I'm looking around, no judging, but we're all past the time. Our peak bone density happened around 22. So if we could tell our girls in high school, start jumping, get the jump rope out, start pounding, chase those boys down, be running. We don't have to load our bones to make them denser. Now I might. There are studies that you take the 70, 80-year-old people with osteoporosis, put a squat bar on them and make them squat and load their skeleton from the top down. But there's force from the floor and there's gravity from above, and every muscle, point A to point B, when it pulls on a bone, it is creating a reaction that creates more bone. We gotta do that. We have to do it now because it's gonna get worse down the road and you can't fix it down the road. Okay. Do I have another one? How am I on time? Okay. Let's go. Oh wait, Claire says. So I put this up there and I was like, why is there a duck? Claire says, this is the good advice duck. She trusts that this is good advice. So here we go, everybody up. I'm gonna take my shoes off because otherwise it's cheating. Okay. Toes straight forward, hands on your hips with the most beautiful posture, and raise yourselves up like your ballerinas. Don't stop there, a little higher. That's 1, heels down, go. That's 2, oh yeah. That's 3, keep it up. That's 4, that's 5, and 6, and 7. Don't let those ankles roll out, you ankle sprainers. 8, 9, 10. Turn the toes out. What is this, first position? And let's go again. Yeah, 1, on releve, 2, good. 3. The different positions are the calf muscles, plural, have different fibers and different alignments. The different angles get all of those fibers because we want a really strong outside head, a really strong inside head. Good, toes in, little pigeon toe. 10 more, here we go. Who's burning? 1 and 2. Can you totally do this while you're on the phone? Yeah, I know. Right? We can always fit this one in, and this one's not getting your heart rate up so much that you can't keep talking. 3 more. 8, 9, 10. Nicely done.
I do that brushing teeth.
There you go. Do it brushing teeth.
I do that every morning.
In the microwave. Yes, you do. That's awesome. While the Keurig's going. I mean, I like to multitask, but this is multitasking. But don't, I mean, if you do them in the shower, you'll get out quicker, right? That's what I literally laughed out loud on here. So, what is the best exercise? Here I am saying, you gotta do it. Let's go.
The one that you will enjoy and keep doing.
Walking, running, anything,
Any.
whatever you do. I agree. It's the one that you're willing to swallow that pill. It's the one that you're willing to keep doing, the one that you're not going to quit, the one that's going to make the lifestyle change that we're all looking for. We all want these quick diets, we want these quick fixes, but it's about the longevity and what you can keep going. So, I agree. It's whatever you're more likely to do, whatever you like to do, whatever makes you happy, because then we're getting the other psychological benefit as well. But also, if you get out there, you get moving, and now it's time to be like, well, I really want to get stronger. I really want to help my mood. I really want to work on endurance. Then maybe you can be a little bit more picky. So let's say you say, I am so tired all the time. I just need more energy. Then truly, pick anything, but do it regularly. Put it on the calendar, make it happen. It doesn't have to be much, but at least 3 or 4 times a week. Let's say your immunity's down, you're constantly getting sick, you're always going to the doctor. Same thing, if you could just walk. If you could put on a Fitbit, if you could count your steps on your watch or your phone, try to get at least 7,000 steps a day. I hear some people that try for 10. It's probably 4-ish miles, would you say? 7,000 steps? It's not quite like 5 miles. And if you want to lose weight, don't we all? No. It can't just be cardio. It's not enough. It's not just about burning the calories and the energy. You have to make muscle. And muscle comes from strength training. And strength means you gotta lift things that are a little heavy. You gotta be a little tired. If you have the time to fit in a little bit of both, that is what is for the long-term weight loss. And it's because muscle is a living tissue. It needs blood, it needs oxygen, it needs energy to survive. So those who have the same weight are sitting on a couch, and one has more lean muscle mass and one does not. That person is burning more calories sitting on the couch doing nothing than the other. So if you invest the time, even though it's not the same burn, you're not getting as out of breath, you're actually, in the long term, burning more because you're raising your resting metabolic rate. So does that make sense? Yes, so investing that little bit into strength training. And if you want to decrease stress, anything, pick what makes you happy, just do it, okay? We talked about, Isabel likes, you like yoga and classes. Classes are good. Classes give you an appointment. You have to do it. You have friends there. You have friends that, where were you last Tuesday? I was here. I held your spot. They keep you accountable. They maybe feel a little competitive in them. If I'm holding a pose or I'm spinning and I see someone else getting faster, I might get a little bit faster too. It's definitely my social network. Stephanie and I have been in a workout and Roger yelled at me like, stop talking. I was like, no, this is fun. I like working out, but this is fun for me. I need my chit chat, whatever gets it done. Look at all the class options. There's Pilates and Zumba and yoga. At the rec center, there's TRX classes, rowing classes, karate, kickboxing. Anyone? Oh, goat yoga, right? What? Any other weird ones? Anyone see? What's that? Yay, goat yoga! Cause why not? Why not? Anyone else have any like weird classes?
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm hoping to. The acro yoga?
Yes, with the aerial yoga.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
There's the ones that are on the trampoline and they're like bouncing like this, and everyone has their own mini tramp. All right. So I went to one. But we didn't know we were doing it. It was a girls' night out in Norwalk, and my friend said, "Everybody pay us money. We're setting up this reservation. I mean, come hot because we're going out, but ready to work out." So after a few drinks and dinner, we go into this studio in Norwalk, and there are poles from top to bottom. And everybody else was a little too drunk to enjoy, but I was like, this is great grip strength, and look at my core, and I can really spin and do flexibility. But it was awesome. So I guess there's a sport called pole, and they're competitive, and they do it all in 5-inch heels. Yeah, I know. Whatever, like classes are cool. Make classes happen. The American Medical Association says that we should be getting 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise in a week. That can be 5 days a week of 30. That could be every day for about 20. But moderate intensity means every so often you have to take a breath. It shouldn't have to, if you can do a whole paragraph and your whole life story without taking a breath, you're not working hard enough. But it doesn't have to be vigorous. If you do vigorous, that time goes down. So if you think, I have to exercise, I want to get it in, but I can't, then we can talk about more vigorous exercise. Okay. All right, here we go. Everybody, move your chair back. What's this mean? What's this one? Oh. Claire says, this makes sense. They are both dipping properly. Okay, here we go. So you got a chair or a table.
Without wheels, a chair without wheels.
Well, you know, if you do it with wheels, you're going to have to stabilize a little bit more.
I have a shoulder
Oh yeah, no, you're out. You're excused.
I'll do my
So, knees bent is easy. Knees straight is harder. Knees straight, legs crossed is hardest. Let's do our 10-10-10. So here we go. Down and up, down and 2, down and 3. I relate these to the Michelle Obama arms. Oh my gosh, she has these sexy triceps and lines and deltoids. Yes, this is for the Michelle Obama arms. Great, go halfway down and let's pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and down, hold it, 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, lower, 3, lower, 2. Oh yeah, that was good. Nicely done. Woo! I am glad we are fitting it in. So strength training is good. Strength training makes you stronger. When you go to the gym and you don't know what to do, and you think, oh, here's a weight, I'm gonna pick it up and put it down, right? That's like pretty much how it goes. We tend to pick too light. The studies show we tend to pick 30% of our 1 rep max, which means if I could only lift 100 pounds one time, that's my 1 rep max. I could probably lift 80 twice, and I could lift 30 10 times, 15 times, 30 times. We only pick 30%. We need at least 60% to start to make some strength gains. Endurance, we can talk differently. We need higher. Bodybuilders do like 80, 90, 100%. They'll do 1 rep, drop it, give it a break, and do it again and repeat it. So you gotta be stressed a little. This is not cortisol stress, this is physical forced stress, and that stress does something at a cellular level and causes hormones to release and causes growth hormone, and that's how we grow and change and our strength and muscles develop. We don't have it so lucky as men. Men have more testosterone that helps build muscles. They only need twice a week and they get stronger. Ladies, we need 3 times a week. If you only fit it in twice, that's great. That's exercise. At least you're maintaining. But we really need 3 times. And maintaining's okay, because naturally, if you didn't exercise, we would be losing 10% of our muscle mass every decade. But unlike bone, this is reversible. We can always get stronger. I can't wait to retire. I'm going to exercise all the time. And I'll deal with that later, but this is still a good time to reverse that and be on a better trajectory for later in life. The gym is good. If you're not afraid of the germs, if you don't mind lifting heavy weights, if you don't mind who's around you, go in, put your AirPods on, do your thing, go with a buddy. The gym's good because it has heavy weights. But if you think, I'm not going to the gym, but I want to lift heavy, I talk to patients all the time, like a gallon of milk. That's pretty heavy. How about those cat litter boxes? Oh, we can squat with those. Oh, we have the water softener pellets, those huge bags. You can find plenty of heavy things around the house and make a workout out of them. Or there's bands, stretchy bands and tubes. There's therapy clinics that just exist with physio balls and bands because there's just infinite possibilities there. So don't let not having access to weight limit you in strength training. And we talked about those who have more lean muscle mass just burn more calories, just living, but also the after effect. So when you beat up those muscles, then they say, oh, not only do I have to replenish, come on sugar, come on glucose, let's go, let's get back in the cells, I have to grow. I have to add protein, which takes energy. I have to make more muscle fibers, I have to make my fibers bigger, and the growth takes energy. So once you're done with that strength workout and you're sitting on the couch, your metabolism is still higher for about 2.5 hours afterwards. Comparing to a brisk walk or a run, within 20 minutes it's back to normal. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not burning as many calories versus running, maybe if you count it out over the few hours afterwards, you are. So plenty of cardio options, right? You can swim, you can run, you can bike, you can walk fast. The goal is to get your heart rate up enough that you have to take a breath every sentence or two. Okay? I have my magazine back there. This was an awesome magazine from Time. And we talked about HIIT, right? Mm-hmm. HIIT is high intensity interval training. If you're already into exercise and now your goal is time efficient, I need to burn those calories and get all the benefits of the cardio and get the benefits of strengthening, but I just don't have time. The interval is go hard, take a little break. Go hard, take a little break. Almost what we're doing right now, but we're taking too long of a break. So lots of calories, your metabolic rate stays up longer, almost 3 hours. Those who do it have better strength. Those who do it have better oxygen consumption, meaning you have more stamina. Your body doesn't have to work so hard at living. Here's how to get started. On one end is 30 seconds. Hard would be to do it for 60. Longer rest is easier. Shorter rest is harder, okay? So you see that? Usually 30 to 60. So 30 to 2 minutes would be easy. And 60 to only 30 seconds off would be really hard. You gotta go hard. So this one article said, I wonder how effective it is. I mean, other people go out for 45 minutes and they go for a run. Let's see. So he did his study, and here was his protocol. He did a 2-minute warm-up on a bike. This was all on a bike. And then he went 20 seconds, as hard as possible, and then 2 minutes slow. 20 seconds to 2, 20 seconds to 2. 20 seconds, you could do anything for 20 seconds, really. And then cool down for the last 2 minutes or so. And that was only 10 minutes. And I've tried it, and 20 seconds is enough to be like, I could be in this and it doesn't look like I sweat. But I mean, you do it 3 times. So you do get a little, but I wouldn't have to change clothes for this workout, whereas I would definitely change clothes for a 45-minute run, right? And those who did this protocol had the same benefits as those who went out and did like a 45-minute moderate intensity bike ride. So if you're trying to squeeze it in, maybe a HIIT workout is good. Yeah, talk to me.
No, I just feel like that's me. Like,
Yeah, fit it in.
And fitting it in is the whole process.
Yes.
When I do it, I enjoy it, but it's so there. So if you can make it efficient and you can tell me where to fit it in, I would actually do it.
Yes. Maybe you fit it in the office. Maybe you fit it in while you're on the phone, while no one's, you put it on mute, right? And you just get it done. It doesn't have to be neat, doesn't have to be pretty, you don't have to look good doing it, you don't have to change your clothes, who cares, who's judging you? And then what we're going to talk about next, like, yes, this is all great, I want to do it, but how do I fit it in? How do I get it going? Okay. Any questions there? I think we got another one. All right, everyone sitting in a chair. I need a chair. Push your chair back. Beautiful posture, edge of the chair. Pick one knee up high. Switch it. Great. As hard as you can for 60 seconds. On your mark, get set, go. Go, baby, go. March it, march it, march it. I'll tell you what 20 seconds feels like.
Okay, I have question.
Yeah,
Should we be feeling this more in our core?
that's the good posture part.
Okay.
Good posture's core. You can kind of poke around at your tummy down there and be like, yeah, that's working. Also hip flexors.
Okay, yeah.
Man, after my C-section, I feel like my hip flexors never came back. They're the weak one too. So that's 25. Who's sweating? It's not that bad, right? But I'm starting to breathe a little bit. I mean, you all get to have your water after this. I have to keep talking. All right, we have 20 seconds left. Pick it up. Pick it up. Higher. Up high. See, working out in a group makes you competitive. Keep it up. We got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. Woo! You guys are awesome. So good. What was this meme? Okay. Claire says, this is the success kid. He's like 30 now. Do you guys know each other? I was like, that's a cute kid. Okay, how? I want to do this. I know the benefits. I want to exercise. I have which exercise program I want. How do I do this? Where do I go? Write it down. Put it on a piece of paper. Put it on the calendar. Put it in your phone. But make it official. Make it so, put it on your whiteboard at work. Make it so someone else sees it. Tell someone, I'm going to start an exercise program. And then later on, they're going to be like, how's that going? But make it official. Don't put it in, don't plant the seed and then not harvest it and let it grow. Thinking, how am I going to do this? Who am I going to do this with? When am I going to do this? Where am I going to do this? What outfit do I need? How am I going to get there? Do I need a prepay? Get all the details out of the way. Don't just allocate time and then expect it to just magically come to fruition, because half of the time we'll actually be planning it and then you're like, it's too late. I don't have time to actually get it in. We talked about like things that make us happy. Remember, exercise will make you happy, but isn't spending time with friends make you happy? And with kids and family? So my husband and I golf. We go out and we golf now, and it's so wonderful to have that time. I took my 8-year-old on a run. And I don't care if she stops and we have to walk, but we actually had time together too. And I got exercise in. If any of you have questions after this presentation, you can email me and we can set up a time for a walking date. But I'm not going to sit at my email and answer your question. But I would be more than happy to walk and talk on the phone or meet you for a walk down on Main Street. So see if you can work it into your life instead of, I have to be alone. Sometimes the alone time is good. How are we doing?
I think we've got to get to the panel soon.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Then we will keep going quickly. I like to say, whatever you start with, if this is not already in your routine, make it stupid easy. Like so ridiculously easy that there is no excuse. You have to do it, because if you didn't do it, you'd be embarrassed for yourself. And I gotta say the quick story is the Ridgefield Running Company had the Frozen Feet Challenge. And I thought, it's just a mile every day. I can do that. And after a week, I was like, oh my gosh, it's 10 o'clock at night, it's 20 degrees outside, I forgot. But I'm not a quitter. And my husband said, come on, let's go. I put on my Uggs, I put on my big parka jacket, and we did it. And we got a mile, and he made me run it. It was horrible. But then it's like, if I did that, I can keep it up. And then when it was over, that is my new thing. It made me find my habit. It made me find my time. Like 8 o'clock is my sweet spot. I won't fall asleep, but find a challenge to motivate you. Get a friend to help challenge you. And it's really just accountability and pre-planning is really, and try something new. Get out of your comfort zone and do it for 2 weeks. Just suck it up for 2 weeks. And then you'll start to find, okay, this works. Okay, I like it. If you skip a day, you end up missing it. So give yourself 2 weeks and you'll start to form a really healthy habit. Okay, we're gonna skip this because the whole idea here is if you're motivated to do this, I just helped motivate you with education, and sometimes it doesn't turn into internal motivation yet. It's okay to use external motivation. give yourself a bribe. Give yourself a reward at the end. Join a challenge that has a t-shirt at the end. I told myself, well, I'll drink a glass of wine if I get to exercise, but I'll count the calories. So I walked for 100 calories and I actually measured out 50 calories of red wine. And that was my reward. But whatever it takes, it's okay to start with those external motivators because they will turn into internal motivators. Whereas I like the feeling of exercising. I like the satisfaction it gives me afterwards. I like people seeing me on Main Street saying like, you go, nice job. I like people telling me how I look because of that. So if you need to do external, that's fine. Turn it into that. Okay, skip it? No, I sat on my knees and locked these tables so we can do it. It's 60 seconds. Let go. Everybody up. Right here. Okay, we can talk and go. Is it really? Okay, let's get our panels up. Thank you, guys. I have some good questions. We're going to keep going. All right. So we have Kelly, Catherine, Megan, Kate, and Kathleen coming up. Oh, yeah. And look. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I was like, Kelly, what are you doing? Where am I coming? She's 5. I know, but she's still a baby. Kim. I don't know. Kim is in. She's not here. She's the office, like, directly out of here. Like go right. Back, yeah. Right. Straight back. Yeah, we'll take care of it. So ladies, just quickly, why don't you introduce yourselves and where you come from, what business you're supporting, and I don't know how to have here. Project as well. So thanks. No problem.
Hi, I'm Kelly Moriarty, and I own Body and Wellness. I started that about a year ago. I changed careers 6 years ago when I developed a chronic autoimmune illness. So I went from working out 5 days a week to not holding a glass. So I decided during COVID that I would turn that around and become a certified nutrition coach at the time. I'm getting recertified as a personal trainer so that it goes hand in hand. I also work with a medical device that is called the Beamer, and it is a PEMF therapy. So it I lost myself. The projector went up and the light went off, but I can still speak loudly. You guys can hear me. So I have information at the table back there because I also jumped in with an athleisure wear company because athleisure wear goes with everything else, right? And it's become my everyday attire that I wear. So if you want any information, I'm also doing a raffle for $50 off of either services or a clothing article that you would like. So thank you. Did I do that right?
Hi ladies, I'm Catherine. I'm a massage therapist and a mama here in Ridgefield. I have 2 different specialties, the first being therapeutic wellness massage. So you have an ache, you have a pain, you have something that's really been bothering you, your lifestyle, my back hurts, I'm at my desk too long, I need to, find the way to be a little bit more mobile in my hips for my yoga or for, whatever it is. We work it out through musculoskeletal pain and tolerance and relaxation and you time. The other specialty, which is near and dear to my heart, is prenatal, postpartum, and perinatal massages. So I am one of only 4 or 5 massage therapists in the state certified to work with moms as early as 6 weeks. I've done in-hospital, so I just had one the other day, thank you Kathleen, going into hospitals with high-risk moms who are in their state where they're like, look, I can't move, I'm in a hospital, I need a little bit of me, also I want to give back to my baby. Most recently, I'm in the process of starting baby spa because who doesn't love baby and who doesn't love massaging baby and learning about those benefits for yourself, for your child. But yeah, wellness, it's awesome. We all need it. We all need our time, and it's not about the luxury. Massage is no longer a luxury term. I hate coining it as such. It's a wellness practice. So, massage ladies.
Yes, this is my massage sister. I am Kathleen Queskin. I am the CEO and founder of Grow Wellness. Grow Wellness is a full wellness center in Ridgefield, Connecticut. We offer a range of modalities from all over the world. So you're going to find yoga, many different varieties of meditation, therapeutic massage, cupping modalities, lymphatic drainage, Reiki. We have an Ayurveda specialist as well. So it's basically a safe space and a sanctuary where you can go and feel like you found a judgment-free zone, that you can heal, and not only heal, but thrive. It's called Grow Wellness, very much kind of building off of what Nero was saying before, about happiness not being a destination. Happiness is a moment, right? It's the same thing with wellness. You don't just arrive at wellness, and although some people may make it look like you do, wellness is really about the journey. Like you're living well as you go along. So that's why I named it Grow Wellness, was to take the stigma out of the wellness practice and make it so that it's for everyone. So in addition to leading an amazing team at Grow Wellness and a sanctuary, I also am a massage therapist, a yoga instructor, a Reiki master. So I also have my own clientele, and I'm very involved in the services and everything that we provide there. So many hats, and it's really nice to meet all of you.
Hi, I'm Megan Searfoss. First of all, I want to say, Kate, that was awesome.
Yes.
And there's a couple things that I want to pile on with her, because her conversation is probably one of the most, and obviously I missed the mental health part, but you can gain a lot of mental health out of physical movement. And there's three things that I want to pile on with you. One is cortisol. She talked about cortisol. If you have young daughters, if you do it yourself and you're sitting there and you're scrolling through your Instagram and you see your friend at the Bahamas in a swimsuit, or you just see her toes and you get a little bit of envy, you know what happens? Your flight or fight mechanism, that cortisol builds up, and yet you're sitting on the couch and you're not using it. And so what happens is that cortisol, as she said, gets stored. And you know where it gets stored? Right here in nice, incredible belly fat. So I always tell young women, especially, if you are getting angsty about what your friends are doing on the Snapchat and the Instagram and things like that, get out and move. Because let them do 5 minutes of Instagram looking at, and then go out and move, because they can burn off some of that. The other part of it speaks to a lot of us in this room, and except for that, maybe that gentleman over there, is that they just came out, the American Medical Association, or somebody just came out and said, big fat lie, menopause doesn't change your metabolism. Okay? So no more excuses, ladies. It's sedentary changes your metabolism. So that's really what Kate was kind of saying. And then the last thing I wanted to say was Frozen Feet Challenge, which Ridgefield Running Company did, which is the store that I started 2014. We usually have about 1,600 people that sign up for that, and about 800 finish. So that's a big cancel rate to walk a mile every day. So make the commitment and do it. So I'm Megan Searfoss. I own Ridgefield Running Company. I owned, up until last year, Run Like a Mother, which is a national 5K race series. I just sold it, sold is a funny word, to a woman that owns a bunch of fitness brands. The race will always be Run Like a Mother in Ridgefield, and that's our race. And that's not touching it, but she is actually taking it to a more national level. I'm also certified in a bunch of different coaching modalities, personal trainer, that sort of thing. But I also wrote a book in 2014 called See Mom Run, Every Mother's Guide to Getting Fit and Running Her First 5K, which was a Competitor Magazine's top running read of 2014. You can get it at the bookstore or on Amazon.
Your store is amazing. You have
Hi, I'm Kate Fitzpatrick. I am CEO and founder of Kate Fitzpatrick Consulting. I grew up here in Ridgefield. I had a lot of cancer in my family growing up, and I always wanted to work at a women's health magazine, so I got a journalism degree, and I worked at a men's fashion magazine for a few years. That was as close as I could get, in addition to some freelance writing. And then I transitioned into the nonprofit world. I was director of communications at a national cancer research foundation for about 12 years until COVID kind of blew up their events-based fundraising model. So it was a good thing that alongside that, I was building my own social media consulting company and just finding women entrepreneurs, mainly in the health and wellness space, who wanted to either delegate their social media to me or get some coaching around how they could be more efficient and effective on social media. So that's a little bit about me, and I work mainly, again, in health and wellness, nutritionists, chiropractors, lots of different, honestly, mompreneurs, in addition to a few other industries like realtors and contractors and Ridgefield nail bars, so get your nails done.
We have such an amazing panel up here with so many accolades. This is awesome, and we can really learn a lot from them. And so going on to the fitting in fitness, we're all hearing, like, how do we fit it in? How do you fit it in? What's your exercise of choice, and what is the struggle that you had to sacrifice or change to get it in? So since Kate's got the mic, why don't you start on that end?
My challenge is my 3 children. But it's also something that helps me because my son gets up really early in the morning. So once I get him up and get him settled, I get on my yoga mat. I work from home. I keep my yoga mat out in my office, so it's a visual reminder all the time. I do free yoga videos on YouTube. Yoga with Adrienne is amazing. Her dog walks all over the place. It's hilarious. And she has videos from 5 minutes to like 90 minutes, so there's really no excuse. That's my choice right now, in addition to walking. I feel like what Nero was talking about with the visual, like looking outside, taking deep breaths, looking at things that make you happy. And I love habit stacking, like Rachel Hollis talks about habit stacking, so I have to pick my son up at preschool most days at 1 o'clock, and he's on Main Street, so I get there at 12 or 12:15 and walk on Main Street before I pick him up, so like working it into my schedule, like you said. I was doing HIIT training, and I love HIIT training, and then I hurt my shoulder, and I miss it, but Kate's gonna fix me.
It would be silly, I own a running store, so my exercise of choice is actually running, and it is, I'm not a treadmill person, I'm not an inside person at all, I'm an outside person because the universe really presents a lot of opportunity to solve problems, reduce stress, and also it's a little bit of a social hour. I run a lot with other people, but what I enjoy most is running with myself. I don't listen to music. I always say I have so many voices inside my head that they're having conversations with themselves. If I add music, it would be horrible. I did not start running until I was 30, until I had kids, and realized that it was the easiest thing to do was to get out the door, and the most mind-opening thing I could do. I could walk out the door being angry at my husband or one of my children and walk back and forget why I did it. And so running's been a gift in my life, and when I can't run, I walk. And I almost do anything that I can do outside. I'm not a good class person because classes don't start at 5:03 or 6:07 or whenever I get up and get ready, and I'm always running late, so.
I'd say my exercise of choice is definitely yoga. Before I had my daughter, and before, when I was in college and before I started my career, I was awesome. I was like meal prepping, and I'd go to the gym for an hour every day, and it felt like it was such an integral part of my life. And then when I had a baby and I had everything else going on, it started to become more of a stressful aspect of my life. And so what helped me was diving into the philosophy part of yoga, which is all about meeting yourself where you are with compassion and without judgment. So even if I have 5 minutes, I'll do something, whether it's a sun salutation or a quick, some quick breath work. Whatever I can fit in, I do, and I don't rag on myself about it if it's been a while since I've done that, right? I meet myself where I am, and so that's been helpful. But I always do it in the morning before my daughter gets up, She's 5, but she wakes up at like 8:30, so I'm lucky. So I wake up at 6 or 7, depending, you know, and I just will get in what I need to get in. So, but it's definitely, you know, it changes throughout your life.
I just completely switched my fitness routine. I, full disclosure, had COVID when everything went nuts. I had my son whilst having COVID. And because of that, I had to reinvent my long-term cardiovascular and pulmonary health goals. I meet with my pulmonologist and my cardiologist, and because I was the first, of course, they're going to track me for the rest of my living life. I decided that walking wasn't enough for me. I wanted to walk with my son, and he's great, but he's also 36 pounds, and pushing a 36-pound toddler is not exactly fun. Great for cardio strength if you're doing, you know, one hill, but not long term. So I actually picked up weighted jump roping. So I've been doing that 2 weeks now, again, the 2-week thing. I hated it for the first 6.5 days. I can't go full 15 minutes. I have to make my breaks, but as long as I'm making my marks and seeing progress, it's really cool. So walking and jump rope, and obviously chasing a toddler.
And super time efficient.
Yes.
You can't jump
Time
rope for half an
efficiency.
hour.
Everyone
45
has
minutes.
15
Yes,
minutes.
Fit it in.
I encourage, do you follow Make It Fun NYC?
Yes, I do.
So I interviewed her, and she's rock solid.
I love it.
And she talked about how she was hitting rock bottom to the point of suicide. And if you guys want to watch the interview, it's on my Instagram.
It's worth
It's an amazing live, and she started with the disease process of hypertension, diabetes, risk of stroke, but the worst case was her desire for no longer existing. And giving birth to her children, she's like, I have to keep living because of them. And she felt that a jump rope was the only thing that was going to save her life.
It's fun.
And watch the live. If you guys do anything, watch the live. It's extremely touching and so just so honest, and it'll make you want to jump rope.
So I guess for me, I've always been active. I was a dancer, but always struggled with my weight. So activity has always been very important in my life. So before I got sick, I loved to strength train. Elliptical was my favorite, Stairmaster, but I was a gym girl. That was my release. After work, you go to the gym, and now I don't have to kill my kids right away when I come in the door because I've let it all out. But after developing the autoimmune, you learn to completely adjust your life. And it affects you mentally because you think you can, your whole concept when you're working out is to push, push, push. You can't push. You have to be like, oh, today I don't move. Today I get up, I go to the mailbox, and I come back. Today is not the day. So I basically do we got the Peloton because they have low impact, which is perfect for me if I can do 20 minutes, if I can do 10 minutes, if I can do 30 minutes. It depends on the day. And I do resistant bands because that's what works. And then walking, of course, is always just good. But not to say that I do not miss every day getting up. And so it's important to know that your body is a temple. Treat it that way, because you never know when you can't do something.
We're good.
Keep going, Kelly. Talk more.
Yeah,
So I'll keep talking while they're talking.
I'm really good at talking, but
I really thank you for
Tell
that.
me time. What time do you want me to
Mary,
be
you're the
done?
time person.
Well, I think that you were gonna get started right around 2, correct?
1:30.
1:30.
I'm flexible.
Yeah.
So one,
Well, I think we were all, yeah.
one more,
like 10
one more or
minutes.
2 more? One more?
Wait a minute, one more question.
One more, okay.
Pick your favorite one.
Well, I want to make sure that we highlight,
We can do 2 questions.
okay, one quickie, one
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, let's do that. Because
We talked about fitting in fitness for you. We talked about taking care of your health. And I think not all of us are mothers, but there's always other significant others in our life that we prioritize over ourselves. But we can't rely on other people to take care of us. We have to make sure we are a priority. And if you have a teammate and you have kids that help you and you have a significant other that helps, great. But I want Megan to talk about Noreen.
Okay.
And why we have to prioritize ourselves.
it's kind of timely because Run Like a Mother is next weekend. And Run Like a Mother is the beneficiary is the Ridgefield Library, and it benefits a program called the NLP Mothers Live Your Life Fund that I started with John Papa shortly after Noreen passed away. And that programming at the library is really fabulous. It promotes taking care of yourself and does programming for women and children. And the reason it does is because Noreen was one of my very best friends, and when I started Run Like a Mother in 2008, she told me that I could do it. And she allowed me to do it, and she stuck by me, and she has 4 children. And Noreen, I have 3 children, 3 daughters, they're grown, who all have Crohn's disease. My husband has Crohn's disease. We all deal with autoimmune issues and lots of surgeries and awfulness. And Noreen started asking me, you know, when your family is diagnosed with Crohn's, did they have blood in their stool, or did they have these things? And we would talk about it like at coffee. We ran together all the time. And then it would go away. And what happened was she started to become very symptomatic, and she finally got herself to go see a gastroenterologist. And I guarantee you, if you're a mom, if your kid came home and said, I have blood in my stool, you would be on the phone, you would be at the ER, you would be making an appointment for that child that day. But what happens as moms is we go, oh yeah, I'm gonna call later. And then it becomes 5:05 and the exchange is on and you can't make the appointment, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna call tomorrow. And then that tomorrow becomes a month, and then that month, you know, you may have a little bit where it doesn't bother you. Noreen finally made the appointment to go see the gastroenterologist, and she had stage 4 colon cancer. In fact, they couldn't even get the scope far enough up into her bowels to see what was going on. She had an incredible fight, and it had already metastasized. It was already in her liver. It was already in her lungs. It was a horrific time. During that time, we had one Run Like a Mother that if you were there in 2013, she actually was in a golf cart, and Kristen, you're crying, so I know you were there. She was at the Mother of the Hill, which is at Governor, and she died in July. And it was really rugged, and I don't know that had she paid attention that first moment that the outcome would have been different, but colon cancer is incredibly curable. It's incredibly curable at stage 1, stage 2. And so she lost her life. Her kids were, the oldest was graduating from high school, so she would actually, I think she watched it on video. She passed away in July. I was actually training for Ironman, and her whole goal was to be able to come up to Lake Placid to watch me race. I went up for a training weekend, and I had just finished a 112-mile ride and stuffed my face with cold pizza from the night before when John Papa called me and said, you know, Noreen had passed. And I didn't want to go on that training ride, but she wanted me to. And if you've ever had an ugly cry, try that with pizza in your mouth. It's really bad. But it really resonates with me. Like, you think, oh, I've got this mole that looks a little bit funny. Oh, I'll call tomorrow. We do it as moms all the time. And so that's kind of my prioritizing my own health. I personally work out first thing in the morning because by 2 o'clock I've forgotten I've done it. And so I don't leave it until the last minute. It's almost like, did it happen, did it not? And she's with me all the time on all of these things. I actually probably a very fit person. I race a lot, I do a lot of things, I own a running store, I have all that. I actually have coronary artery disease. It's genetic. So I can have the lowest cholesterol in the world, I can ride my bike, run a marathon, do all those things, and I have to pay attention to that because I have calcium in my heart now, so I have a calcium score, so I have to take care of that. I have to go to the cardiologist every year. Is it embarrassing for me to say, you know, here I am, this fitness of health, that I have high cholesterol or coronary artery disease? It's a little bit of an Achilles heel for me. you know. And by the way, when she was doing the squats, it's so much easier to do squats in high heels. So all y'all, when she's like, and I'm in high heels,
I know.
she's cheating.
I'm not.
So anyway, I had to add some humor to that sort of thing. So
Thank you for sharing
You're
that. I
welcome.
think I just needed, I don't want to scare you, but we need to all be scared to say, we say this and we'll put it off and we'll do it later. But no, now's the time. Don't rely on someone else to take care of you. Yes.
I just want to say something. I called a week ago to schedule my colonoscopy. I'm 48 years old. I've had one before. It's a 6-month waiting list. So everybody in this room, if you haven't had a colonoscopy, you have to call now because it's going to be 6 months before you get in. So yesterday, my brother had a colonoscopy and had 2 calls from him. So he's just 3 years older than I am. So, and I had a friend on Facebook last week who had something with COVID, and she had to have something, a colonoscopy, because she had, a blood vessel pop in her gut. They found a polyp and she wasn't even 45. So, everybody who's at least 45 years old, call because they are way far behind. It's going to be 6 months before you get in.
That's another day to talk about. We've been talking about wellness and health, but preventative measures, you know, don't forget about that. So if everyone spoke for 60 seconds, that would be 5 minutes. We're going to do a big question really quick, but where were your passions and how did it turn into an entrepreneurial opportunity?
My passion was,
Professional
Yeah.
health promotion, health.
fitness. So because I couldn't do what I really wanted to do, turn it around. I wanted to make people healthier, more active, and to love themselves, and basically all that. I'll try to be quick. Sorry.
Similar experience. I used to be as close to pro soccer as you can get as a pre-high school student. I played for the state for 2 years, and a massive injury. Again, you push it off. You're that athlete mentality. I can keep going. I can keep doing it. And what 14-year-old is going to listen to somebody say, that's probably not a good idea? I ran on an ankle for 2 months. Tiny little rolled ankle turned into a massive 3-4 long with surgery thing. So I started massage therapy with the therapeutic side, rehab, educating high school students, educating collegiate athletes, saying this is not your life. This is something you do because you love it. Learn how to stretch properly. Learn how to care for yourself. And then as I was struggling with fertility, I said, no, I'm not doing prenatal massage. It'll kill my psyche. It'll kill my soul. We got pregnant after 8 years of trying, and that was just my karmic. If I don't take care of this now, I'm gonna regret it for the rest of my life. So I studied and studied, and we miscarried. It's fine. Again, wellness, knowledge. It's 1 in every 4. No one knows that. You should. It's okay to talk about it, but because I learned from it, now I'm a pseudo specialist. I have women coming to me from New York. I have women coming to me from Massachusetts because they know I specialize in fertility massage, in prenatal massage, in high-risk fertility and prenatal cases. And then so I'm weaving both webs with women in wellness, with anybody with some therapeutic ailment that they want to cure and heal, or just to take that hour out of your busy rush and tumble life and say, this is for me. This is not luxury. This is not, self-indulgence. This is self-care. And so, 60 minutes, a little aromatherapy, some good crystal energy, somebody else rubbing you down while Enya plays in the background. Get it in, because it does help. And if you're happy, then you're well, and everything else can come from that. So, a little bit about me.
I'm just looking at the clock because as far as passion goes, I feel like I could talk about it forever. As a kid, I was definitely always a tree hugger. My parents were like, where'd this kid come from? And then just growing up, I always had the travel bug. So I always wanted to go to different countries and see, but you couldn't keep me in a hotel. I was always wanting to go out into the market and meet the people. So when I ended up going to college, I had a very big traumatic event happened to me, and everything, the integrative medicine's come a long way, but what ended up happening was I was in such a state of darkness that I was having seizures, I was having chronic acne, chronic depression, just a lot of darkness. And I was seeing a lot of doctors, which was amazing. They helped me with medications, but nobody was really putting together the piece that was happening from my trauma. So when I went to college, I went into international studies and cultural studies with a focus in cultural studies, and I double majored in psychology with a focus in positive psychology. And what I found was every time I was going into these other cultures, they had these other modalities that nobody had told me about that were thousands of years old. So then I started to get curious. After I graduated, I took off on a trip. I lived in Southeast Asia, studying with gurus in India and Thailand and Laos, and then down to Latin America, into the Amazon with herbalism. So when I came back, I got all the appropriate licenses and certifications to be able to bring that to life. And so my passion is in integrative modalities. You can't stop me. I'm all about it. And I think that everybody's different and everybody heals differently. So what might work for somebody might not work for somebody else. And the idea for Grow Wellness, just to kind of finish up on your question, came about 10 years ago when I was treating my epilepsy. I knew when I got a massage I always felt better. I didn't know why. And then I knew when I went to a yoga class with the right teacher, I always felt better. I didn't know why. But I couldn't drive because of my epilepsy, and nobody was putting the things together. So I was like, what if there was one place you could go and feel safe and supported and connected? And so then I'm like, I'm doing it. So every year for 10 years, I've been planning what is now Grow Wellness. So come check us out.
I don't know, this is really interesting because I think that a lot of us have passions that try to make them into jobs, and that doesn't always work. There's a lot, you have to look at yourself. Can I have a job that fuels my passion so that when I get done with work at 5 o'clock, I can actually pay for that passion? Or can I take that passion and monetize it? And that's a really, really hard place to be, because we always say, oh, I'm so passionate about it, I want to start something. It's a lot of grind, and it's a lot of hard work. And Ridgefield Running Company, I started, and it's, I did it, I wanted to do it all by myself. I didn't want to borrow anybody else's money. I took a loan on myself. I didn't borrow from the Searfoss Family Fund. It was a really big point, but there was a lot of learning along the way, and feel like I'm fortunate, just like you guys are, to actually make a salary off of a passion and inspire other people. And when you're in that health and wellness space, it doesn't really feel like you're working, because you're getting that fulfillment every day, and that's really wonderful. But it's not an easy thing. So it's easy to say, I'm gonna start a business because I'm passionate about it. You got to have a big plan, and it's got to have numbers and Excel spreadsheets, and really a lot of uncomfortableness that I really wasn't good at, that forced me to actually do. So it can be achievable. It totally is achievable, but it is a lot of hard work.
Well, for me, I feel like I grew up with the cancer cloud over my head. My uncle died of cancer when I was in middle school. My grandmother died of cancer when I was in middle school. My mother was diagnosed when I was in college. Her twin sister was diagnosed 6 weeks later. My mother's oncologist said, you should try yoga. And my mom was like, she had done step aerobics for 30 years, and she was like, you've danced for 15 years, try this yoga thing and tell me if I can do it. So that was kind of my introduction to yoga, and it kind of brought my passion for wellness to the front of my head. But I also knew I was maybe not ever going to be a yoga instructor, and I wasn't going to be a medical professional per se, but I feel like I developed as my career developed. And I realized social media could be a huge tool. I wasn't passionate per se about social media itself. I was passionate about using it as a tool to bring all of this expertise and prevention information and just resources to the masses. And so I think that's where, my communications and my magazine background and my social media training, that was all on the spot at a cancer research foundation. Now, kids can major in social media. I think it's hilarious. I just learned it all as I was doing it, and I'm really passionate about using it as a tool, again, to really give people the information they need to improve their health and wellness.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
I couldn't have done it better. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having all of our panelists. Excellent, excellent job. And I think we have more from Monica. She ready for it? Disappeared. There she is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we gonna do the cooking demo? Or,
Yeah.
yes? So you want everyone to just
Yeah, so
head over there?
can come to the front, but can you all do me a favor? Can you please bring, you'll see at the front this handout. If you all could please bring your handout, that would be super helpful. Turn this around.
I picked up my daughter, so you guys weren't stuck ready. It's priorities.
Check of my own. Wellness check. You have to reach out to me. We'll talk about how we can work together.
Okay, while we're transitioning,
I will look at it.
we still have Grow Wellness set up and Body and Wellness. Modern Vascular had to leave. She wants me to make you guys aware, that my Dr. Brittany, that you can DM her Instagram account. You can win a free EM Sculpt Neo consultation with her. So if you guys don't know how to find her on the gram, I just want to give you her, what do you call that? It's not your digits, that's your phone number. I'm going to give you her Instagram handle. There you go. It's @ModernVascularCT. All one word, all little letters, Modern Vascular CT. Just DM her Instagram and you guys are entered to win a free EM Sculpt Neo consult. Yep, please take a second and whip out your cell phone. Modern Vascular CT. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna hand the mic over to our nutrition. Is it nutritionist or dietitian? Okay, and that would be a good thing to tell us what the difference is.
Okay, so everybody, so we are going to get started now on the demonstration. We're doing this whole thing. The thing that's going to get cut is the very end, like the socializing and stuff, because I think we all know each other pretty well right now. So anyway, Monica's going to get started. Monica's a dietitian with the rvna, and she's been here about a year, and she has tons of certifications. We're not going to get into that. She is going to teach us how to make some peona in different ways, and it's
All right, thank you for that introduction. Honestly, I'm going to put this down because I'm going to be using my hands.
Is that okay? Everyone can hear me, right? It's not. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, so thank you guys. Again, my name is Monica Marcello. I'm a registered dietitian here. And so I'm going to spend this next 30 minutes showing you how to make quinoa 3 different ways. And the reason that I chose quinoa was because it's something that is super easy to meal prep. I myself don't usually recommend meal prepping for it doesn't fit my lifestyle. I don't find that it fits other clients' lifestyles that well, not in a way that feels natural necessarily, but I definitely do think it's important to do some things that can make your week easier. So the first thing that I just really want to quickly highlight is you can see, I believe it's like the 3rd flyer in there. So not the recipes, it's the 3rd flyer. It says rvna Health Guide to a Complete Meal. So one more, I see some people checking it out. And as I'm explaining that, I'm just going to heat up the first recipe today. Excuse me. So what I want to highlight, so this is sort of how I provide general, helpful recommendations. And what you see here can be used as the basis for really any sort of chronic disease, condition, acute illness, or wellness goal. And then, of course, you can build off of this to individualize for somebody's specific needs. And I want to highlight this because it sort of shows you how the framework that you should be thinking about your meals as every day for at least 3 meals a day. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, I don't anticipate that or expect that to be perfect. But you'll see what it is. It says, you want to choose, for every meal, you want to choose a whole grain, complex carbohydrate. You want to choose one source of protein, one source of healthy fat, and then you want to make the majority of that meal your fresh fruits and vegetables. They could be frozen, they could be canned, as long as they're rinsed, doesn't really matter. But that's like such a simple thing, and I set that in less than 30 seconds. And it really, when practiced correctly, can honestly be incredibly life-changing. So I'm going to repeat it one more time. So for every single meal, you want to start out with one complex carbohydrate and whole grain, one source of protein, one source of healthy fat, and you want the majority of every single meal to be fresh fruits and vegetables. And what this does is it intuitively sort of promotes, anti-inflammation. It intuitively promotes maintaining a healthy weight or a weight that your body wants to be at without any sort of restriction. If anything, it focuses on a sort of addition mindset. So what can I add into my diet versus what can I take away? So that's sort of where I got the motivation to show you, if you just meal prep this one thing, and quinoa is usually my choice because I find anyway that it's like the longest thing to make. Or like the grains are usually the longest thing to actually prep. So if you just prep this one thing at the beginning of the week, what you can do with it and how you can make it work for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and how you can sort of tailor it, and you can do all these recipes in less than 5-10 minutes, and I'm really testing that because I'm giving you 3 recipes for X amount of people in 30 minutes, so let's go. So this first recipe is the dark chocolate quinoa breakfast bowl. Again, I have prepped all the quinoa, and so what I'm going to do is, I am going to add some cocoa, maple syrup, and I'm going to toss that in the microwave. Oh, it's all out here. Look at that. My team's all ready for me. Do you guys use measuring spoons? You guys measuring people? No, right? Yes. If I see a recipe, I'm like, ingredient, don't have that, throwing it on the bowl. And that's kind of the good thing. These are fairly simple enough where you can sort of just eyeball it and do your best recommendation. So, as I do this, so the cookout, did you guys know that chocolate naturally has a ton of fiber? Did you guys know that? No. Yes, so not only is it highly anti-inflammatory, contains a lot of wonderful antioxidants, but it actually, I believe up to 4 to 5 ounces, contains 7 grams of fiber in 100% cacao. So anyway, obviously I am meal prepping this for a large group of people, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna throw your cacao in the quinoa, and this is all before you heat it up. You are also gonna add in some maple syrup. I always, and this is sort of my recommendation for any sort of whole grain or grain that comes sweetened. So for example, like oatmeal, I always recommend buy something plain, and then you can sweeten it naturally with something like maple syrup or honey, which has prebiotics, and the chances of you sweetening it is way less. There's going to be way less added sugar. It's going to be more palatable than what you could otherwise buy. So again, right now I just have some maple syrup, some cacao. I did a little bit of vanilla extract, and I am going to add in chia seeds. How many of you are familiar with chia seeds? What? Quite a bit. Can I ask the crowd, why are we familiar with chia seeds? What do they do?
Chia pudding?
Chia pudding? Okay. Do we know the health benefits, Kelly? Kelly, sip it. Do we know the health benefits of chia seeds? You do? Tell me.
Magnesium, right? Iron, calcium, vitamin C.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you really spoke to the micronutrients. That's interesting. And so I don't believe that it is a significant amount of micronutrients. I do believe that there is some iron. Calcium and vitamin D would not say significant, but most importantly, so chia seeds, about 3 tablespoons. I'm going to do a little bit extra because I want to be so proud. So about 3 tablespoons of chia seeds contains 11 grams of fiber. That is a lot of fiber. Does anybody know the amount of fiber we should aim to reach per day?
30 grams.
30 grams, and that's on the lower end. That's sort of like, the 30 grams of fiber is on the lower end. That's sort of for like the recommendation. That's sort of what we consider, safe, but I would not even say that it is optimal. Right? There we go. Got it. Okay. So while that is microwaving, I want to talk a little bit more about the added benefits of chia seeds. So additionally to fiber, so 3 tablespoons is super easy to consume daily. I usually recommend that if somebody's specifically needing for weight loss, I usually recommend adding in chia seeds, 2 to 3 tablespoons every single day. Sometimes, yes, that can be in the form of chia seed pudding, but that can also be in the form of like an oatmeal or a quinoa bake like we're doing now. And it's also such an amazing food. I call this one like a functional food because it has so many amazing nutritional benefits. Because it also has up to 5 to 7 grams of omega-3s. Do we know who can speak to? Like, I'm sure we all heard. I heard some people nod their heads when I said omega-3s. But what about an omega-3? Like, what is the health benefit to that? Do we know? Do we guess? Guessing. This is totally it's a small group conversational. I'm here for it. Talked enough today.
Heart health.
Heart health. Yes. Heart health. Anything else?
Brain health.
Brain health. And so the reason for both of that is because of its primarily anti-inflammatory properties. And more so, they're really starting to show the effects of omega-3s on mood, cardiovascular health, brain health, and other immune disorders and use for anti-inflammation as well. So chia seeds is one of those foods that I usually recommend for a lot of the population that I work with. So it could be cardiovascular health, weight loss, and things like that. All right, so has anybody seen this brand of milk? Fairlife. Some people use it. Wait, so speak to me. So why do you like it?
Well, it's lactose free.
Yes, it's lactose free. Yep.
A big reason, and my whole family, it's filtered milk, so I don't know, it tastes better.
It does taste better. I'm like, I don't know why.
I really like the taste.
I've never seen it. Is it plant-based?
So, say that again.
Is it plant-based?
It is not plant-based. It is dairy milk. You've never seen it, so it's available at any local grocery store. And so the reason I recommend it is because, yes, because of the filtration process, it is so much higher in protein. And so again, if we're sort of thinking back to that recommendations, now I would usually recommend a little bit more milk to really be that like protein source. But again, taking into consideration that I'm making this for a large group, if you make this recipe and you make it with a Fairlife milk, you're gonna get about 13 grams of protein just from that milk in 1 cup. And so you sort of combine that with the chia seeds that have a little bit of protein and the protein that's in the quinoa, you're really getting about 15 to 20 grams of protein, which is super adequate because protein is so important to keep you fuller, longer, satisfied, and also plays very important to the role of exercise as well and maintaining adequate muscle mass. But I love this milk too because about 1 cup is 13 grams of protein. That's 5 more grams than you would in like other milk, and I am not an ambassador. Frankly, I should be. Like, and it almost makes me mad because I'm like, I talk up this milk all the time.
You are the ambassador.
I was like, I'm gonna email them, like, you know. And it does have about 21 cup, it's about 25% calcium and vitamin D. So as that is microwaving, basically all we're gonna do to sort of top this, we're gonna give you a tasting of, so your palates are gonna be like, what am I consuming? Because it's gonna go from like chocolate to beets to whatever, so just get ready. Maybe have some water in between. But so really the key here is, when you make this, or if you make this, and I hope you do, is to ensure that you are topping the majority of this with fresh berries. So berries, specifically raspberries, are some of the most anti-inflammatory fruits available. And so I do recommend about 1 cup or so of fresh berries every day. And then again, pairing this with the banana that I'm about to chop up. Banana is a really great source of prebiotics. Does anybody know what a prebiotic is?
They help the good kind of bacteria.
Say that?
So prebiotics help to sustain the probiotic.
Exactly. So probiotics and prebiotics, all super important when we talk about gut health. Gut health has sort of been like sensationalized in the media lately. And really I think it's important to highlight what exactly that means. So your microbiome lives primarily in your large intestine. And, excuse me, 1 second, I'm gonna pull this out. Okay. Kim and Amanda, I think we're ready to make this into little cups, and I will move on to the next recipe. Okay, so again, we're just gonna top this with fresh berries and fruit and a little bit of dark chocolate chips. Yes?
So I realize how healthy this is, and I have a lot of these ingredients and use them, but not all together. Are you not concerned about all this sugar, even though it's natural sugar? With the banana, the berries, I'm not sure about the content of the chocolate, but syrup, honey, all that, like sugar.
Yeah, so I'm really happy you asked that. I like when people challenge me, like, what's up with this? No, I appreciate that. So the only sugar, right, the added sugar that I added was in the maple syrup. Now, a little bit is totally fine. Yes, there is natural sugar in the berries specifically, but really a lot of that is fiber, and a lot of, you have to, so the short of it is no. No, I'm not worried about it. And the reason is because it's being eaten in a way that is synergistic. So when you just eat maple syrup, that's going to go directly to your bloodstream. You're going to have that spike in blood sugar, you're going to have that spike in blood insulin, and over time that's going to create chronic inflammation. But when you pair it with foods like quinoa, which in and of itself is already nutritionally very balanced with fat, fiber, protein, and then you also pair it with berries that are really high in fiber and antioxidants, and chia seeds, like the ultimate fibrous food, you're not getting that same effect of the added sugar that you would if you consumed it alone.
So did you say like the benefits outweigh any kind of cost, or you don't even think there's a cost, go for it?
Yeah, I don't, because and that's the thing though, like if you do this one meal, and then you have, sandwiches and wraps, so say you do sort of that like framework for one meal, and then you have like sandwiches and wraps for the rest of your dinner, and maybe a pizza, or, it doesn't even have to be this like dramatic. I've kind of gotten frustrated because I feel like, when we talk about unhealthy foods, everyone thinks of hamburger and fries. Like, we need to call out what's, maybe not preferred. I don't like the term unhealthy, but we need to call out what's non-preferred foods that are being masqueraded as healthy and that we consume when we think that we're doing what's right for us. And, that looks like a wrap. That looks like, maybe your favorite acai bowl from Soul Bowl, which I hadn't served. But they look like quite a few different things. I did a conversation at GPC, and I called out like Quest. I said Quest bars, these protein shakes, like these are these like pseudo-healthy foods that are not macronutrient balanced and are not made with majority fresh ingredients, particularly whole grains, fresh. When I say, I don't know why I use that word fresh, because I'm like, it can be frozen or canned, and it can for fruits and vegetables, and legumes and nuts. And when we eat like that, especially 80% of the time, you're not only is there not a risk, you're promoting some of the most optimal health. And the great thing is about this, by the way, I have moved on to the gut healthy quinoa salad, and I'm going to finish my explanation about gut health in a minute. But when you eat sort of in this framework and within this mindset, it really has no bounds, meaning that what I recommended is like, it's primarily anti-inflammatory, it's primarily gut healthy, it's primarily healthy for autoimmune diseases or, sports and physical activity. And then of course you take this foundation and you tailor it to meet your own specific needs. And that's where the role really of, a dietitian comes into play. So I have moved on to the gut healthy, and again, I'm a little nervous to like use this word because I think it's been totally sensationalized in the media, like gut health, I'm fixing my gut health, like really, what does that mean? So,
What is that? Is that BB?
Okay, yes, sorry, let me do that. So this is a combination, it's called Cleveland Kraut, and it is a red beet mix. So it's primarily cabbage, beets, and carrots. And this brand specifically contains live and active probiotics. So much so when I got this bag yesterday, it was puffed up. And we've all heard, right, if you buy rotisserie chicken puffed up, it means it's bad because it means there's bacteria. Quite the opposite for this, because it assures me that the live and bacteria are fermenting inside this bag, making it puffed up.
Refrigerated, frozen?
Yes, and I'm so glad you asked. This is refrigerated. There is no such thing as a probiotic at this time that are, so they will not work unless they're refrigerated. So when you see those cute little probiotics in the supplement aisle, they are dead. There is something called postbiotics, so there's a little bit of research, hey, will they still have that same health benefit? I wouldn't risk it, especially right now. Those probiotics are dead. I recommend if you have a probiotic supplement, which I would recommend so much more you opt for eating your probiotics.
Isn't it true they need to stay refrigerated because they come alive and start working at room temperature when they hit your body? So anything that's on the counter that was not even transported refrigeration is already dead, like you said.
Yes, exactly. So if it's not refrigerated,
Right.
it is dead.
Right.
It is dead, yes, exactly. So this is available at any local grocery, and sometimes they may not always have it. This was Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop, yes. And so what I'm gonna do, so as you can see, I just threw all these ingredients in a bowl. I'm going to mix together in the Ninja the dressing for this. And what I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna just grab the ingredients and make sure I have everything, but I really wanna go back to, thank you Kim so much. Where am I? I really want to go back. Oh, Kim, here's the banana I cut up for it, but you guys aren't getting any banana, I guess. Sorry, no prebiotics for you. Excuse me one second, I'm just gonna grab the juicer and grab what I need to do this, because I really want to discuss the importance of the gut microbiome and be specific to what that actually is. Let me know what you guys think.
Are you aware that hemp milk has the highest count of omega-3 and 6 of all the milks?
So, I'm sorry, ask that question again?
Hemp milk has the highest count of omega-3 and 6 out of all milk available. Hemp related.
Right, so milk, so hemp and hemp seeds in general do have omega-3s in them. Milk naturally has no omega-3s. Believe it, well, actually, milk in general, though, rice milk, almond milk does not have, other than hemp milk, does not have omega-3 fatty acids. Milk can be fortified, similarly how any product can be fortified to add the omega-3s back in. And since we're on that topic, not all omega-3s are created the same. Can you guys tell me where else do you think omega-3s are? So we said chia seeds, we said hemp, fish, right? Salmon, particularly salmon. In a capsule, kind of, but not really. Be wary of where you're putting your money there. And here's why. So not all omega-3s are created the same. So there's two different types of omega-3s, and their bioavailability, meaning the rate at which the body can absorb them and how effective they are in our body differs. So an omega-3 coming from a hemp milk is less, it's beneficial, don't get me wrong, but it's less bioavailable than an omega-3 coming from your salmon. So you have to be mindful of that, and that's the trick too with supplements in general. So you'll find on the supplements 2,000 milligrams of omega-3s. Really be careful of what you're buying, because primarily that's going to be ALA, so alpha-linolenic acid, which is not as readily absorbed and available in for us. Another trick that people fall victim to is we've become so accustomed to saying fish oil, fish oil, fish oil. So guess what? People are buying fish oil, not omega-3s. And I caught my parents. My dad's like, no wonder why that's cheaper. He's like $5. Did you think it was me? Like, hello. So anyway, yeah. So be aware of that, and I encourage you to be mindful. So usually supplements will be about 2,000 milligrams of omega-3s. There is about 5 to 7 omega-3s in 2 to 3 tablespoons of chia seeds. So really, where are you putting your money? Plus, you're getting the additional fiber and the additional protein. It really does not compare.
So do you think you don't need a supplement with an extra fish oil that has omega in it?
Usually no. usually no. I think that what I do, sometimes I work with clients to ensure that they're getting my general recommendation is to make sure that you get about 2 to 3 grams, of omega-3s per day. And I work with clients, because generally we want to have only 3 servings of fish a week. I work with clients to make sure that they're getting that amount from foods first, and so they're eating their supplements, you know. And it's not to say supplements do have a place, but I don't think that I think for a lot of people, when we grab them quickly at CVS because the label speaks to us, it's largely not a waste of money, it's just not a productive use of our money. Is there any other questions about that as I'm just putting together this?
Question.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
How upset do you become, or how triggered are you by, by just the consumers being lied to just constantly? I mean, do you feel that the supermarket, what do you think about society and how the consumer is constantly lied to? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly frustrating. I often tell my clients, you know, these companies don't give a shit about you. They don't. They target your children, and they target you, and you know what? People think that, and first I have to come at a place like from compassion, because you don't want to, as you mentioned in your talk, you don't want to disrespect somebody's upbringing or how they've been bringing up their children or their culture. But you have to connect and really reach them and say, listen, you know, the money that you think you're saving when you buy McDonald's or buy Welch's fruit snacks or buy these meals because you're saving time, so you quick meals, so you can be with your family more, you're paying for that on the other end of the spectrum. You're paying for that in your health and your family's health. But I try to, I would say, frame it so it's more positive, so it feels like it's more of an activity. And one thing I actively strive for, and I'm always open to recommendations, is trying to make things as easy to implement and understand as possible. So I'm sitting up here and I'm saying all this great stuff, but what practical recommendations can you do today, or can you share with your friend or your sister or your mother today to really make a difference? Because I love talking to all you ladies, but I hope that you talk, you spread the message and like that. But it feels constantly like it's an uphill battle.
And why I ask you that question is because the omega-3, right? So people think that they're healthy, that they're trying to make healthy choices. And then so, for example, my patients will buy something they felt was healthy and they bring it to me, and then I'm like, oh no. And then I feel bad because they reached for what was healthy, but then when you look at the back of the bottle, you see that they reached for something that was not as good, and now they feel like they're starting back over again. You know? It's always like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward. I always felt that I was healthy with certain things, but then now I start looking at, so for example, collagen, right?
Yeah.
Half the time your body doesn't even absorb it. So everybody takes collagen every day, right? But half the time you don't even know what's in the container.
And what is collagen, right? It's the amino acids that are then broken down into our body so we have them to build back up. And there is a time and a place for that. But I think, and I think a lot of you would probably all agree that we find people grab the next quick thing. And that's what's really frustrating, because you can get all those amino acids in your diet. You can get all, but it feels proactive. It feels like they're doing something, like, today I'm buying this omega-3 and like I'm taking control of my health. There's something about that I think, just like when we buy a new shirt, we feel like for that moment, like, I'm a new version of myself. I think it's very similar in that aspect.
But now, do you have any books that you recommend that might have like the name of the ingredient and what it's for? So for instance, chia seeds, this, and this, salmon, this, and this, like a reference guide that we can,
That's a really good question. I'm sure with some thought I could have a better answer for you. I do have a book that I recommend right now. It's not exactly, so it's called Hormone Intelligence by Dr. Aviva Ram. And I've been reading it right now, and I do recommend it for people. So actually, you out of all people would really love reading it. It talks a lot about, women's health and women's issues. and particularly hormone imbalances and what we eat. And I found it fascinating because everything that I do, I work with geriatric patients who have heart issues. But I mean, I do more than that. But everything that I do has, been also what has been the foundational work to support hormone development. So it was so fascinating to read that and go, wow, there's so much overlap here. And that's what I try to emphasize. Like, we all should have that same general foundation, and then we personalize and work up from there. Any other questions? I just want to dive into this recipe for one more minute. I have to imagine.
So the omega-3s that are in the hemp milk are naturally occurring, not supplemental and not injected.
Correct. But be mindful that they are the less bioavailable, less beneficial version that is found of the omega-3s that's found in the salmon or herring or mackerel or sardines.
As far as milks go, I'm not talking about getting it.
Gotcha. As far as milks. Now, are you plant-based?
I was milk 5 years ago, and as far as the genetic, that. The hemp milk is phenomenal.
Okay.
For fiber, for protein, for omega-3, it's top of the chart.
Because hemp seeds in general are amazing.
Hemp everything.
Hemp.
Is that seeds like chia seeds or not?
Yes, you
spread
can.
on salads.
But I would recommend more so that so like chia seeds can kind of fit any flavor profile. They can be like more sweet, more savory.
But they coagulate.
Well, they can, and that you may have found that in they do. They absorb. They're a little bit back. Totally. So flax seeds, hemp seeds, and chia seeds are they sort of live in like same plane. So they're all fairly decent sources of omega-3s. Again, not the less bioavailable, but still recommended version. They're all high in protein, different levels, and all high in fiber. So I would put it on that same plane as chia and hemp, but this is how I would categorize it. Chia seeds are always going to be my biggest recommendation. They have more fiber, more protein, more omega-3s than the rest, so it's a better balance. If you're looking for more of a protein push, you're going to think more so for hemp seeds. Flax seeds are somewhere in the middle, but they can be used. I use them a lot in like energy balls, for example. Does that make sense? So they have a different texture, but if I'm looking to get that same benefit, then that's what I'm going to recommend.
These are awesome, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So what I want to say, and I didn't get to share my second research study, sort of circling back to the gut health quinoa. So I don't know if you recall, but the second thing that I said was the importance of, so I said there was 2 really prominent research studies that showed the role of mental health and diet. I shared the first one this morning. The second one is they took the gut microbiome from 2 people, one group of people that were clinically depressed, one group that were healthy subjects. And they injected them into what's called germ-free mice, meaning mice that have no gut microbiome. And they found that the mice that had the microbiome from the depressed subjects were exhibiting depression symptoms. And those of the healthy microbiome had no symptoms. So that really pointed research in the direction of, wait, we have to look at the gut microbiome. And we think that that is the biggest indication to promote health, mental health. And so really when you hear gut healing or gut health, really what that means is having a flourishing microbiome. So what that means, to dive even deeper, means that you have trillions of different bacteria. So you want to have diversity, you want to have evenness. So even if there's, quote, beneficial bacteria, you don't want to have too much of it and not enough of the rest. And so those are the 2 really big things. So you're like, well, how do I get there? So you can get there by eating primarily, how I mentioned, whole grains, legumes, fresh, fish occasionally, fruits and vegetables, but also eating pro and prebiotics every day. Probiotics is that sort of original bacteria that is thought to have a health benefit on the microbiome, and prebiotics are the food, so to speak, for the probiotics. And they can all be found in your food sources. So that is why this recipe, so the fermented beet, this is a source of probiotics, and then you pair it with the onion that's in there. Onion is a source of prebiotics. So again, rather than spending $60 on a capsule, that you take addition to your meals, and again, if your meals are not full of these phytochemicals and fiber and fat, then you're honestly just going to be sort of, it's negating the work that you're consuming in those capsules anyway. So here you can ensure that you're sort of setting yourself up for success. And that is why, you know, trying to consume something like probiotics and prebiotics daily is really, really important. And that's why I came up with this recipe. Yeah, actually feel free, pass it around.
Where do you get that in the grocery aisle? With Fiona? Is that where you get it?
No, this is refrigerated. So you will find it primarily in grocery. And I'm glad you guys like the taste. It's a very particular taste.
I would say that it would help like the
Are you
Stop Shop?
Yeah, but I could. Like I said, you know, I could tell.
Where the spinach box is.
Another source of prebiotics, garlic.
Okay, I'm just curious. Yeah, like I'm wondering where it's categorized. Right, okay.
Do you like to touch them?
I'm gonna take a picture.
They're all the same. All the same. Yeah, the same.
I love my family says it tastes like sand. So apparently I'm not making it correctly, but the other one, we can just put a little butter and salt, we love it. It's like plain.
Oh, yeah. But the thing about that, when you do that, and that's great, and I'm glad that you're reaching for a quinoa versus, you know, a pasta.
Yeah.
But when you do that, though, you're not getting that balance, that sort of same balance. So I would strongly recommend, in that case, that you go for something a little bit more, you know, with balance to it. So maybe adding like a fermented foods and sprinkling chia seeds, and these are all sort of like pantry staples. I mean, this is obviously refrigerated, but it's all a staple. So lastly, what I am making right now is I'm just showing you how to quickly make these into burgers. Into quinoa. There's my eggs. I'm like looking for them. So this is actually another example, guys, of fortification. Eggs don't naturally have omega-3s, but these eggs are fortified. But 125 milligrams of omega-3 is not worth it, so I would just recommend, you know, you buy the eggs that you can afford, and you enjoy like the salmon 3 times weekly, the chia seeds, the hemp seeds. I'm trying to be aware of the time. So,
if you had a cooking show, I would watch it every week. Yeah. No, really though. Here's
yeah, no.
You need to go buy quinoa now. Yeah, you go. I rolled out.
Oh yeah? Okay, all right. Well, so I kind of, you're so sweet. So Kim, my marketing director, so okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. And this completely happened by chance. Like, it's not like I have ever done a TV show or anything before, but have you guys heard Amy Schmidt? She's local to Ridgefield. You guys familiar? Yes. Okay, so they're doing a show. I don't know if you guys are aware. It's called Better Than Gossip. And long story short, they sort of like called up rvna Health and were like, hey, we need a kitchen. And I think to like sweeten the deal, they're like, yeah, we'll use your dietitian. Like they're like, but they really needed the kitchen. And yeah, and so they came here and they filmed 6 episodes, and I was able to be in it, which was really yeah.
You're wonderful.
Did you make this?
No, actually, and that was the thing, because it was so the other host, Kristen Cofield, I don't know if you guys are familiar, these were all new names for me at the time. Kristen Cofield. Sorry?
She's a cancer survivor, and that's how she got into the eating healthy. And
You don't want
wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah, so excuse me 1 second, I'm just gonna So this is, sorry, I didn't make this clear enough. So this is scallions, parsley, garlic, 2 eggs, sauteed broccoli, and quinoa. And this, as you can see, is a fairly quick version to make a burger. Oh, funny story. I made these recipes last night just for me, and I ate all of these 3 different bowls. So Like, I just wanted to make sure that they worked. But yes, so again, the thing about this is, so this is just a different way to eat your quinoa. Again, broccoli and egg is sort of acting as like the emulsifying agent here. I don't know how many of you guys have made burgers, and right? Like, do you ever find that when you make burgers?
You need a binder.
You need a binder, yeah, or else it falls apart.
I always shake mine.
Yeah.
Perfect, I shake it.
Yeah, I know.
Better than shake weight.
Yeah, right. Kate, intentional exercise. Shout out to all of them.
So when we go to Bear Burger and we order the quinoa burger, this is a good choice, right? Please be tough. No, tell me the truth.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, so I'm glad you brought that up, because those are,
Yes, we do spend like $27 to get a Bear Burger and some fries, you know?
Oh, it's so expensive.
it was very expensive, but I'm glad. Yeah, I think I saw in the recipe that you can. Actually, I feel like there's so many different ways that you can do things. But when you ask about that burger, that's such a good example of one of those like pseudo healthy foods. But I don't. Kim, why does this not work? Yeah, but you. Yeah. Right. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Guys, I'm sorry about this. I don't know why I'm on.
It's those gossip girls broke it.
We didn't have that. Done, ma'am?
Okay.
I stole your forks. They're gone.
I usually lean on this and it'll turn on by itself, so I don't know why. I tried.
Yeah, all the others players with, but other than that, we couldn't do that. Well,
You guys, while they're scrambling to get the gas going, Mary has some closing remarks, and maybe she can make it now while they're doing that.
Well, we're not gonna talk much more, you know, I mean, really, we wanna see this, but, and one of them I needed Kim here for, but that's okay, so, you know, just thank them.
Thank you.
But here's one thing I would like to say, you know, I mean, this was a great day, I think we all agree with that, we do a lot of health and wellness kind of things, so we're gonna do more of them, but, you know, they have their breakfast tomorrow, and that's their biggest fundraiser of the year, the rvna. So if anybody, you know, I know that the one thing she was gonna give me was some QR codes, if anybody wants to make a donation, I think that would really be a good taste. And if anybody is interested in the breakfast tomorrow, please just let me know. If we had enough of people interested, we could get a table. And I wish I would have thought of this before like yesterday, but I thought that would be a really cool thing to do. If not, because I understand you had a big day today, I'll send out the QR codes, you know what I mean? Because I think that that's a nice touch. And I've been to the breakfast. Has anybody been to the breakfast? Yeah, you understand a little bit more now what they do. I think they understand a little more what we do, and this has been a great synergy to kind of learn so much and bring so many women together today. Entrepreneurs and clinicians, and I don't know, any comments from any of you? Because we have had a day, haven't we? Yeah, really, this is longer. We have never done an event this long. It did. As long as it is.
I was like,
I know somebody said that to me, that's a lot. I'm like, I know, but I didn't know where to cut it off, so.
The discussion part of it really helps to get everybody involved. So I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, I did too, but it was a bit of a different thing, right?
Yeah.
About
And our
this.
biggest hope is that you keep the conversation going once you leave the meeting, once you leave this room.
That's right.
So if you guys can all look for each other, I know Mary printed out those wonderful like syllabus of kind of what was gonna happen. Itinerary would be a better word, but like look for each other on the web, look for each other on Facebook. I'm gonna start growing that little big group. That's so funny for Bay Connecticut, so that we can have more attention and more eyeballs on that, make it more content besides just like one voice all the time, and then it's like, okay, is anyone even listening? So we want to. I'm listening. So we want to try to continue the conversation is the point, so that you guys can continue to network with each other and reach out. I had 3 people today already. I know when I leave here, I'm gonna reach back. She's one of them.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna be calling. So, no, but here's the other thing, because we learned so many things. Like Monica has an Instagram for rvna, so she has an Instagram. You can get these tips all the time if you follow her for the rvna diet. What's it called? It's a live diet.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to follow her, it's nutrition_rvna health.
Yeah, so there's an Instagram for that, and there's and then who was the other one? There was a couple other resources today where people have things online, and maybe the thing to do after this is to collect those and put out a resource page so that people can find each other, because there was a lot of good.
Right, and there was so many people, and not everyone from the morning is still here, so we have an afternoon group, we have a morning group, and there was a lot of contact, and that is what it's all about for all of our businesses, and for this, filling our cups individually, just as women, as people, etc. So we want to, make it keep going when you leave the room.
Yeah, and keep in touch with us, rvna folks, because if there's an event you want to come to, you can just come, you can come as our guest. So yeah, if there's an event that
I was already following you.
But I just had
She's in the know.
Thank you.
Kim, I don't know if any of you know this. Kim is new to rvna. She's the marketing director, and she is the person that made this happen. She believed in our idea when Patrick and I talked about this like months ago, and it was a brand new idea. Well, you didn't know we've never done something like this before. We do a lot of events, but they're actually quite long. It was just an idea Kate and I came up with, and you made it happen, and you did leave. You noticed she was working this today. She's the marketing director for rvna. So, I mean, it was a lot. I mean, this was a lot. We were a lot. I know we were a lot. It was a really nice event. It was a nice event. It was. We learned a lot, but it was also just good networking.
I want to be blended, and then you added additional quinoa.
Yeah, and you know what? The only reason I did that was because I made it a little bit smaller. Yeah. But the good news is like, yeah, and like because I made it a little bit bigger, that means there's more egg. However, I one I made last night. So it's all different. Thank you guys so much for your attention.
This is awesome. Like I was kind of maybe looking forward to this.
Of course not.
Something for everyone. It's yours.
No, I appreciate that you asked that. So, no, there really is no like limit to what we see. Primarily, I work with a lot of women, ranging from age 30 and above. Geriatrics happen as a result of who we see, but it's certainly not my it's not my specialty. I love seeing most people. I do a lot. I mentioned this earlier. I do a lot with the GI stuff. So I've had an 88-year-old woman on her journey with her GI stuff, and I've had women who are 25 on their journey with GI. But I'm certainly not limited. Yeah, we've done some stuff with adolescents, younger women as well.
I have to say, with child radiation, he does a wonderful stuff. Women, helping them, teaching them how to develop coordination.
like this was like a different.